We spoke about sports, not only in terms of human development, but economic development. Could you tell us a little bit in terms of the economic impact that the CARIFTA Games and the CPL Games would have had on St. Kitts?
Certainly, Lesroy. When one analyzes the economic impact, one would have to delve very deep into the various areas of society which would have been impacted as a result. Let us start with CARIFTA. The CARIFTA Games required government to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to provide accommodations for the various athletes. The tourism industry, the hotel sector would have benefited directly from that. The persons working in the various hotels, they would have benefited from such. The marketing of the country must also be taken into consideration, because these games were televised throughout the Caribbean region and beyond. But apart from persons being able to look at the games, you had hundreds of athletes who were here who were then able to go back to their respective homes and become ambassadors on behalf of St. Kitts and Nevis to say to various persons that the hospitality provided here in St. Kitts and Nevis is second to none, and that they would want to return, and they would want to encourage other persons to return to St. Kitts and Nevis. The airlines would have benefited. Therefore, the persons working at the airport, they would have benefited. The vendors who would have gotten an opportunity to sell their different products would have benefited coming out of CARIFTA. Different tradesmen and women here in St. Kitts and Nevis would have benefited, because we had to do quite a bit of work to ensure that our stadium, the Kim Collins Athletic Stadium, was in a state of readiness to host these games. Whether it is persons who did painting, the persons who would have installed the additional seating, the plumbers, the electricians, the various persons from the media, they all benefited. And so, as I said, the economic impact would have been a very great one, a very large one. If we go to CPL, again, you had some similar instances taking place at CPL. The preparation of our Warner Park cricket facility for CPL required various local persons to do work at the stadium. Apart from the persons who would have done various work to ensure that the stadium is ready, you had different teams coming into St. Kitts and Nevis. They stayed at hotels. They brought family members with them. They would have visited some of our local restaurants. They would have toured St. Kitts and Nevis. So vendors again would have benefited. For the very first time, St. Kitts and Nevis was able to field its own CPL team, the St. Kitts Nevis Patriots. That team actually went out into our different schools, spoke to students. Students were given tickets to attend those games. Vendors would have benefited as a result of that. Tour operators would have benefited. We can spend the entire afternoon speaking of the economic impact of both CARIFTA and CPL, Lesroy. But I have given you just a small bite, just as a glimpse into the various ways in which the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis would have benefited from both CPL and CARIFTA.